Hi everyone, my name is Nara V. Thank you so much for clicking on this video and taking the time to watch this video. If you do find this video helpful and it provides some clarity for you, I would really appreciate it. If you like the video, love to comment and subscribe. It really helps my channel out when you do that, so it would be much appreciated. So today we're going to talk a bit about taking accountability for oneself and shadow work, aligning with soul energy. It all ties in together, just like the Yin and Yang symbol. There's light and dark. There is a balance between both aspects. We're not just focusing on the light here. We're not just focusing on what's perfect or what's good. Right? We are seeing everything for what it is, knowing and truly aligning with the fact without judgment that nothing is inherently good or bad. As long as we aren't hurting anyone and we're not hurting ourselves, nothing is right or wrong. Everything just is. Everything just exists. Everything exists to balance one another. We have opposing forces and opposites to know what one thing truly is. Those who have traveled into the darker aspects within themselves and really faced those parts of themselves, really been honest with themselves, are the ones who also know what it truly means to be in the light, to hold up the light within the light grid on this planet. They are the ones who will truly get to live the light in its fullest. Some of you guys have left comments like, how do I get into emotive zen? How do you shift into soul alignment? How do we do shadow work? And I love that you guys are asking those questions. I love that, truly, because on this path, especially if you've come across your twin flame, it's really easy to focus on their physical vessel. But the fact that you guys are asking important questions like this, I truly do appreciate it, and thank you for asking them. During your ego death, you are naturally going to go in a state of facing your shadows, facing, the ego melting away, all of those uncomfortable emotions that you don't want to deal with, to be honest. Well, your ego doesn't want to deal with it. Your soul doesn't have a preference. It doesn't judge. It just notices the events taking place. It observes it. It's aware of it, but it doesn't judge it as good or bad, because the soul can literally endure anything. The soul is just like, all right, so this is happening. Okay, this is happening now. So by noticing these thoughts coming in and just labeling the ego, right, then you've made the unconscious conscious. And right there and then you shift into soul alignment, into soul energy, into being the observer, into pure consciousness. But when you're not aware of it, you're going to keep taking action from it. You're going to identify with it. You're going to think that your ego is you. But there's more to you than just the ego. There's so much more. You're an infinite, multi-dimensional being. You can go within forever. So when it comes to shadow work, it takes a lot of accountability. Like, for real, it's uncomfortable. You're not going to want to face it. You're going to be like, I don't want to sit here and just think about, all of the things all of the mistakes that I've made, all of my patterns that aren't really proactive, all of my habits that I'm not really that proud of, right? So it takes a lot of accountability to do that. It takes a lot of accountability to address the parts of your ego that may be causing toxicity to your own life as well as others around you. The parts of the ego that are seeping into your relationships, connections, friendships, your day-to-day life. It's never too late to shift. It's never too late to change. It's never too late to improve for the better. All that matters is that spark that you have within you, and that you're willing to even hear this message. You're willing to even take a look at your life, your habits, your patterns. That's already such a huge step, because honestly, a lot of people just want to turn a blind eye to it, right? They want to sweep things under the rug. They want to just continue living their life, even if they know in the back of their mind there's always this thing, it's pressing, it's always this thing that's going, like, I know that's there, I'll deal with it, I'll deal with it, I'll deal with it. The next day comes, the next day comes, and they do the same thing over and over again. And that's being unconscious. That's being in that hypnotized state where you're operating on autopilot and you're not really aware. You're not really living fully in the moment, aware that the ego is trying to take charge over the true you. Right? So when you do shadow work, when you're having an ego death, you naturally will start to do shadow work, because when your ego is melting away and is dying, you're just in pain. You're in pain, you're going to be crying all the time, you're going to be experiencing like sadness, disappointment, and then all of the trauma, that you've experienced in the past, things like patterns that have stemmed from those traumas will come up. Fear of abandonment, rejection, things like that, right? And those are the shadow aspects. But the thing is, our shadows need the most love. And when we give love to our shadow selves, that's how we transmute and alchemize shadow into light. And that is what this whole journey is about. You do that every single day. Even if it's just little by little. You don't have to do a ton of shadow work in one day and be like, oh my gosh, like I need to advance, No, it's just a way of being, it's a way of life. It's just being aware and accountable every day. Other things that you can do to, face your shadows and be more aware of kind of like what's been going on in your subconscious is write down all your worries and journal and number them. All of your fears, worries, whatever it is that come up for that day. Then on the next page, you're going to write 3 points, positive points of love, of gratitude, whatever makes you happy about yourself, about your life. And you're going to do that for every one worry they have listed on the opposite page. And so once you're done writing all of that, you're going to take the list of worries, rip it out of the journal, rip it up, and you are going to do that as a symbolism of it being released from your being, released from your aura field. And I suggest doing this every single day for a month minimum. That will help shift your thinking patterns. It'll help restructure and, just gradually you'll start to develop more positive thinking patterns that don't stem from fear of abandonment, rejection, from lack mentality. By you doing that, you're facing all of those things right there and then, because you're actually putting it on paper and you're owning up to it. Like, okay, this has been going on in the back of my mind, I'm gonna put it right here and I'm gonna just take a look at it and then I'm gonna release it from my being. Really, with shadow work, it takes a lot of understanding the subconscious and the conscious mind. So the subconscious mind, that's where a lot of thoughts go down, like a lot. And it's actually responsible for what you manifest and attract into your life. And so, from the point of birth and you inhabiting this vessel that you have, and then as you go on and you grow up, you start to take on all this programming and conditioning. Think of the mind like a supercomputer, like super intelligent, right? And it takes on these programs from what it's exposed to, what's told to you as a child, how people speak to you, how you speak to yourself then, because of how you're being spoken to, and all of these things start to be, they're stored up like computer programs. And then they start to run in the background. It's like having a ton of tabs open on your laptop. They're just there. And then you kind of forget that they're there, you know that they're there, but you just minimize it. It's like, all right, I'll deal with that later and I'll close all of them later. Right? But then they're running in the background. They're programs that you don't need. They're taking up space. They're causing you to think in ways that aren't necessarily, conducive to your evolution and growth in terms of rising up and ascending. And really to notice that those things are there, to be honest with yourself, to take accountability, to be aware, is to then really delete those things and reprogram. When you say the words I am, be very mindful of that, because you're calling on to the source presence within you. I am is the mantra of source, of God, of the soul, right? And so anything that you say after those two words, you're literally attracting into your life, you're manifesting more of in your life. So you want to be really aware that you're not speaking down on yourself, that you're being gentle with yourself, that you're speaking words of love, gratitude, compassion to yourself, right? You don't want to say things that are rooted in lack mentality, things that perpetuate these patterns that don't really help, right? You don't want to say anything negative, pretty much, like anything that brings you down. And the thing is, we've grown up to be in this mode where we compare ourselves to others, to the achievement of others, what people look like, you know, all of these things that we do in our minds. And those are the structures that need to fall. They need to be dismantled, demolished, and replaced with a better foundation that is a lot more stable. And you build this foundation by being aware of the fact that this is how you've talked to yourself the entire time that you've grown up until now. And every single time you talk to yourself negatively in a way that, you know, where your ego is trying to bring you down, you're going to shift. You're going to notice that thought is there. Don't punish yourself for it, because we have a ton of thoughts every single day. Like, sometimes you have intrusive thoughts as well. It doesn't mean that you are those thoughts or you're a bad person. You just have thoughts. And the key is not to feed your energy into every single thought, not to believe every single thought and be like, oh my gosh, there it goes again. I must be, you know, this person that's just horrible. Like, no, they're thoughts. Thoughts, that's it. What you give power to, what you feed energy into, that's what matters. So be indifferent to these thoughts. When you start to notice them come up, just be like, okay, that's there, but I'm not gonna feed into it. I'm gonna be indifferent to it. I'm gonna shift into something else here. I'm gonna speak kind words to myself because I deserve that. I'm worthy of that. I'm going to speak from a place of empowerment and knowing that I am source energy. I am at the soul level source energy. The very energy that has created every single star and galaxy within this expanding universe is within you. Why would you ever talk down on that energy? Right? It's literally pure platinum light. That's what you are as a soul. And you are the soul. You are not your mind. You're the soul. So yeah, that's pretty much, you know, shadow work and soul alignment. Again, it's like the yin and yang. It's all one symbol, but there are opposing parts within that one symbol. So don't try to bypass the shadow aspects of yourself. Don't try to ignore those parts of yourself, because they're still parts of this existence on this plane, and we can't just ignore them. We have to be accountable for them. So yeah, that's all I'm going to give you guys for this video. We'll definitely be talking about this a lot more. I mean, this is pretty much the subject of this channel. I know I have videos where it's titled like twin flames and stuff like that, but I don't talk about just twin flames. I talk about, you know, aligning with higher consciousness, with higher awareness. It's all part of that journey anyways. The true reason why you come across your twin is to align with the true spiritual path. That's the real reason. So it goes hand in hand. I hope that this video was helpful and that it provided some clarity. Let me know if you guys have any questions in the comments below, and I'll get to you. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this, for receiving this message with an open heart and open mind. I'll see you guys on my next video. I love you all.